the population of the UK is a threat to Starmer and to the elite and to globalism. Patriotism now is looked down upon. People look at you as if you're suspicious if you say, I love my country, I want to protect my country. I don't care. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
He wants a war. Nick Buckley, from The Protagonist and all sorts of places, charity founder Nick Buckley, NBE. Starmer wants a war, doesn't he?
I'm not sure he does. He just wants to scare us, because a scared population is easier to manipulate. In that clip, he doesn't go into who the enemy is. He doesn't go into how we're being threatened, apart from cyber attacks. He even mentions criminals later on in that clip about how he needs to protect the country from criminals as well as foreign players. He's given us just enough to pique our interest and go, oh, I'm a little bit more afraid today than I was yesterday. That's all he's done.
You don't think, though, when he said, just recently, was when he said, we have to be war ready. And you are right, he hasn't identified who the Vikings are or where they're coming from, who are going to attack him. But you don't have to be blind Freddy. You understand that he's referring to that evil Russia. And now that Zelensky is, he's still getting thumped. I mean, he should just wave his white flag and look after his people. But, the scuttlebutt saying that from Zelensky that he will attack NATO within 5 years. He's got no intentions of attacking NATO. And you may be right. He's just creating the fear there that, you may be attacked. But I think he, just from sitting here, he's looking a bit like he wants to have a stoush. He's got the EU together, with his tugboats and Dad's army he's going to give Russia a bit of a hiding. That's what I think anyway.
I think it's something completely different. We're in a mess in the UK. We had riots in England last year. We've got riots in Northern Ireland a few weeks ago. We're a powder keg at the moment. We're a pressure cooker. We're going to explode very soon, and it's going to be horrendous. It's going to lead to deaths, mass violence. We're actually talking about civil war now in the UK. We've got a leading professor from King's College London, who studies war, and he's saying within 5 years the UK is going to be in civil war. Our cities are going to be no-go zones. It's going to be urban conflict. And I think Starmer can see this coming down. He needs to pass new laws. He needs to get his hand ready for this and to clamp down even further on this and more authoritarian rules. And this is the first step in that. He can't admit it's going to be a civil war because that means he's failed as a leader. And it's not just him. He's not even been in power for a year yet. This has been coming for decades. So he's doing what most politicians do. He has to blame the boogeyman. And the boogeyman is for all my life has always been Russia. It's now Iran. It's now these other countries. And these countries have a danger to the UK. They have a danger to the West. But they're not an existential threat because Russia can't even beat Ukraine. Iran is isolated. These are not international threats. But the population of the UK is a threat to Starmer and to the elite and to globalism. And I think this is the first step on clamping down, getting ready to clamp down on the troubles that are coming to the UK.
And if you're war ready, you can sense it to your heart's content, can't you?
Yes, absolutely. And he's also started laying the narrative now of foreign interference, foreign players. So when it does kick off in the UK, he won't be saying, this is British people unhappy with my premiership. He'll be saying, look what the Russians are doing. Look what the Iranians are doing. They're infiltrating. They're causing these riots. They're funding these riots. That's why we're having a mini civil war. That's why people are dying. It's not because of our policies. It's because of foreign interference. He'll bat the blame away.
And you're full of, just looking at the alt media, not all of it because a lot of it's disgraceful, but violent criminals. We can write terrible words. We can tell the truth, and that's what they don't want. They don't want the truth out there. What do you do though with how do you stop a civil war?
Um, it takes strong leadership. It takes strong politicians. Unfortunately, Mike, we haven't got any in the UK. That if I wanted to, if I wanted to import more people into this country, it would be strong politicians because that's the only field in our country where we've got an undersupply. This could be stopped today. All politicians have to do is answer the concerns of the people, which is we're stopping mass immigration today. We're deporting tens of millions of guests who have only arrived in the last couple of decades. And then for the next 2 decades, we're going to spend a lot of money on integration and assimilation for the people who are
Mm,
staying here. And if you did that and started doing that, the pressure cooker would start to decrease. But no one wants to do that. It's too hard.
mm,
It goes against all their ideologies. It goes against our economic model because we rely purely on cheap labor, foreign labor. No one's got the backbone to do it. We need a modern version of a Margaret Thatcher, someone who's ready for a fight, who will take on the global interests, just like she took on the miners and the unions. We need a modern day that, and
mm.
and believe me, Mike, there isn't one in the UK.
What about Nigel? Um, sorry, I'll try to do that without laughing. What about the guy who loves cameras, Nigel?
Well, in the last 3 weeks, the three most powerful people in Reform UK, the new chairman got got given the chairmanship and straight away said, "Immigration's our strength. We're a nation of immigrants." The deputy leader of Reform, Richard Tice, was asked about a new report that come out saying white British are going to be a minority in 40 years' time. He laughed it off and says, "Oh, I'll be dead. Who cares?" And then Nigel Farage 2 weeks ago says about building new houses in Wales for Welsh people. He was asked by a reporter, "What's a Welsh person?" And he said, "Someone who's lived in Wales 5 years and pays taxes." So, so reform are not the answer.
Mm.
Reform are the party we needed 30 years ago. They're fighting yesterday's war and yesterday's battle. They're still better than Labour and the Tories, but they're not fighting today's wars. So no, I don't see it coming from Reform either.
Do you see, and I've said this to Vanessa before, do you see part of the problem is, and I think it is the entire lack of respect from those that are part of that community. And then the tolerance we put up, we have this enormous intolerance. We put up with it of people doing things to hurt other people and destroying that entire community. Do you think we need to be, but I don't like saying going back to the past, but we do need to somehow instill respect and love for country, which goes hand in hand anyway.
We've been slowly chipping away at that since the Second World War in my
Mm,
country and across the West. There is no patriotism now is looked down upon. People look at you as if you're suspicious if you say, "I love my country, I want to protect my country." Um, and you wonder why second, third generation immigrants still have a longing for their ancestral homeland, which they've probably never been to. It's because they want to belong to something, but there's nothing to belong to in the UK anymore now. We don't promote our history. We don't promote the amazing things we've done, the amazing gifts we've given the world, how we created the modern world, how we're an amazing country. We don't promote anything about the UK anymore. And you wonder why people are not emotionally connected to it. Well, we don't expect them to.
mm,
And if you are, you look down upon, you look upon with suspicion. But unless we, and this is again across the West, unless we can build nations that encompass all the people who live in those lands with, with an umbrella. If you live in this land, these are the things we all agree on. And then that's how we can get along better. And that's how we can push ourselves forward. But at the moment, it's you like what you like. You have your same traditions you've had hundreds of years from the third world where you came from. Don't integrate because you know what, your culture is just as valuable as our culture. But you know what? No, it's not.
mm,
Because if it was, your granddad and great granddad never would have come here in the first place. He wanted a better life for himself and his descendants. And harking back to the old country is ruining your opportunities in this country, because you're destroying this country. And once this country turns into the third world, many of these people will flee to a better country because they've not got that emotional bond to this land. Their ancestors are not buried in this ground. Their ancestors are not fertilizing the ground that we walk upon. So they'll just flee and we'll be left destroyed.
Mm. A revolution or a civil war,
Mm.
much the same. Will it be a violent civil war or revolution? And it's interesting because in the American Civil War, they say, I think it was about 3%. 3% knew there was a civil war.
Mm.
I mean, so if that was the case, the question to you is, besides, will it be a violent or a civil war?
Mm.
Has it happened already? Is it happening now? If you're looking at that 3% that know that there's a war happening, so maybe it's happening now.
It's already started, absolutely. I can give you examples of how it started, but it's going to be violent. It's going to be extremely bloody. It's not going to be a civil war as in two sets of armies like the Cavaliers and the Roundheads. It's not going to be that. It's going to be more like Northern Ireland. It's going to be tit for tat killing. It's going to be bombs. It's going to be that sort of warfare. But it's already started. First of all, let's look at Islamic terrorism in the UK. Killing hundreds of us, stabbings, bombs, murders, and that's coming from one community who are trying to gain more power and influence. It started there, but it's more than that. Let's look at the eco-terrorists. Let's look at Just Stop Oil and all those nutcases. We were being warned by the FBI and British Secret Service 20 years ago that they're going to turn violent at some point, because their methodology is, we've tried peaceful, you're not listening to us, the world's dying, you're now forcing us to go to violence. They're already semi-violent now, blocking streets, destroying our culture, destroying art in museums. They're attacking the culture of the country. That's a flag for civil war. And then look at the Blade Runners in London. The Blade Runners are the people who go around cutting down the surveillance cameras in London. So we've got people now attacking the state, attacking the infrastructure on the state, and being applauded by passers-by when they see them doing it. We're in the ground hills of a civil war. All it's going to take is a spark. The spark happened last year in Southport when 3 little girls got slaughtered by an Islamic nutcase, immigrants, but nobody was ready for it. So the people who went out didn't wear masks, communicated openly on social media, and they were hammered. They were sent to jail. They were hammered. People won't be that foolish this time. People will be a lot more, they'll cover their faces. They won't be saying things openly on social media. The next incident like that, we're going to see serious violence in the UK. And there's an atrocity always coming down the pipeline in the UK.
Can we stop it?
I think it can be stopped. I don't think it will be stopped. It can be stopped by politicians, by some leaders, if they engage the public and start doing what the public want them to do. But I can't see anyone doing it. It's too difficult. It goes against what they want. It goes against their worldview. It goes against them being pink, fluffy, decent people. They're not Nazis. They're not Hitler. Keeping immigrants out, the sort of thing Hitler would want to do. We're not like that, so we'll accept more and more and more. And the fact that people don't like it, well, it's obvious. The people are the problem. The people are the Nazis. And what you do with Nazis, you punch Nazis in the face. So we're going to see a lot more authoritarian rules and regulations and laws in the UK.
Do you feel for your safety? I mean, not just from the marauders in the street, which could be the government anyway, but do you feel for your own safety? Because at the moment, I mean, they could construe this as almost inciting or encouraging people to have a revolution to take back their freedom. I mean, heaven help us. But I mean, you by being vocal are putting yourself in a spot of bother. Look, you got to answer this in 3 seconds because we're going to run out of time.
I don't care. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.